Hello everyone, it's Richard here. Um, I wanted to review the Maginot line that I played. Couple of things about this scenario. I wanted to try something different because I've never seen anyone try it this way, and I was curious if it was theoretically possible to get a decisive victory with a new approach. Um, and the answer to that is yes, but it's ultimately not worth it. So I actually played this scenario multiple times, applying the same method because I ran into some problems. So here, I'll just start letting it play. So I want to attack up the middle right away. I wanted to hit Metz multiple times right up front. And the first time I played this scenario, I put all of my concentration of forces there. I even had a group of people over here, and they would hit Metz from the west. And it worked. It actually worked really, really well. But one of the issues with doing that was I was too slow to get this far out objective, and it didn't work. They basically, by the time I got over here, they bought a bunch of tanks, and I was way too weak to actually break through. So I tried the scenario again, where I was much more aggressive. I set up another force over here to kind of punch out that way. But I found that it was too slow still. I was running into issues. There's a lot of objectives. There's a lot of enemy units. I just had issues. So the third time I tried it, I made a modification. This group is going to swing up and hit here, and then it's going to go further north and hit out those fortifications, while I wait for my central group to push up and clear this out. And by clearing out these fortifications ahead of time, it makes it easier for me to distribute some of my forces over to the middle, which I badly needed in the final few turns to take out this region, which was really hard. The other modification I made is I snuck a force into the south to kind of draw the armored units from over here to hit me below this lake. And it worked, but one of my Panzer IVs got very badly damaged, which kind of slowed me down. But I was able to actually make this work, but I realized that the frontal assault approach doesn't work as well as what most people do is they swing around this way with one group, gobble this up, and then swing back. And then other people do a sneak attack on a major fortress here, wipe this group out, and then they start hitting Metz from this direction. So I've kind of concluded after playing this multiple times that it's way safer and more logical to not attack Metz directly. I tried lots of different combinations with my units, but I was unable to get it to work efficiently. And so the third attempt that I made on Metz is what you see uploaded, where I actually was able to get to the decisive. And it was actually pretty tricky, even with me making modifications. And you'll see that my units are very badly damaged at the end. So I think that they're more badly damaged than if I had just gone for the edges and collapsed in, which is what I would normally do. But I was curious if I could stretch the limits of the scenario by doing the counterintuitive thing by going up the middle. And what's interesting to me is, if you're careful, it goes very, very well. You can see this play out. I've got like a huge number of planes concentrating on suppressing this region. Taking out this fort is actually not that hard. I also set a trap where I'm pulling the AA gun towards me. Let's speed this up a little bit. So the AA gun moved up to try to attack me, and by doing so, it comes into range of the railgun. So I suppress the anti-aircraft gun, and then I hit it with my tactical bomber, and that keeps the AA gun basically out of action. I eventually kill the AA gun. And by doing so, it opens up my level bombers to hit the middle section a lot. So what I didn't understand the first time I played this, the AI behavior was very defensive, and this is ultimately why my plan doesn't work. These are all like heavily entrenched areas. So I would wipe out a unit, and then another unit would go in and take that spot. And then by the next turn that my turn started, they were already entrenched at like 4. So you had to like take all your artillery and take out that unit to clear that spot. And you had to, of course, suppress any artillery pieces. And that was really problematic because the idea is I need to get into this little hex and then attack this artillery. And then after I take that artillery out, then I take out the central fortress. But it was way too slow because they kept pouring units in. Now that does mean this little section is a lot weaker, but there's nothing I can't exploit that because I don't have that many units in the back. So one of the big problems with this map is I can't deploy behind the Maginot line, and I can't exploit weaknesses in the defenses. I'm left with auxiliary units with no experience and railguns that don't have the ammo that I really need to kind of make small gains in the back, and I couldn't exploit all the reserve units being pulled towards Metz. So it means that taking this area takes a very long time because you're constantly de-entrenching everything. So that's probably the biggest reason why attacking in the middle doesn't work. I think it's actually better if these units were to hang back. Then I could easily take out this little section and then spread out. But it doesn't work that way in practice. So you're better off not trying it. A couple of things to note over here. I'm already working on minefields. I want the minefields north of Metz to be cleared because I need this attack group to have a free and clear to come help take out these areas on the final few turns. So I use the auxiliary units to clear the minefields for me. I'm setting up a defensive perimeter here. I've kind of got a mix of many different plans, and I don't think it's as good as just a pure plan. So the idea is this group is going to try to punch their way here and hit the north. But it just doesn't, there's too much armor. The armor, there's a lot of tanks hanging out in the back, so I can't feel comfortable sending my infantry on an open hex. So that gets in the way of the planning. So let's forward a little bit. Still turn 2. You can see, turn 2, I wiped out the fortress. So it looks like everything is going well. I pulled the anti-aircraft gun forward so I can suppress it. That's actually what happens here. But you can see there's just a lot of units. They're all going to move in and just make my life a pain. Let's forward a little bit. We're on turn 3. Yeah, I finally got into this hex, and I wiped out a big artillery piece, so this whole position is very vulnerable. But look at all these units. Because I can't hit in the back, I'm kind of, I've severely weakened the anti-aircraft gun. And I can't move in because of this fortress. So I think if I was to play it again, I would definitely do the first plan, which is send these pioneers here and take out this fortress. But this artillery piece was here. It worked the first time I tried this scenario. When I hit this area directly, this whole region collapsed, and so it was really easy for me to approach from the south of Metz. But I was really slow because I had overcommitted to Metz. I had to go over to this region and finish those fortresses off, and it was an inefficient distribution of forces, and so I couldn't get the decisive victory by one flag. And it's this one. This flag ruins a lot of complicated plans that you have. It's so far out in space that you have to make an aggressive push to grab it immediately. So that happened. Let's see, where are we? We're still on turn 3. Let's forward a little bit. Here's turn 4. So turn 4, you can see a lot of units have cleared up. I just wiped out the tank. I have the fortress down to 1 ammo shot. So it looks like, I'm doing very well, but I have this fortress, this artillery piece, and I have units planning to funnel in and block me from getting to this fortress. That is highly problematic. And then I could have gone back to attacking this way, but there was a tank that was in my face. So I ended up having to exert a lot of energy to take out this tank, and then the path opened up to take out this fortress, so I took it. The plan is all over the place. I'm doing a great job with this group of wiping this out, but I'm not helping take this out, and there's just so many units. It's just crazy how many units are on this map. Let's forward to... We're still on turn 4. Dang. Yeah, I drained this of ammo. That was good. I have auxiliary units as bait to try to distract the AI. That mostly worked. I'm about to crack that area. Because this region has so many units, I have all my auxiliary units pouring into the back to kind of distract the enemy and protect my units and help take some objectives. The consequence of that is this whole area is really hard to take in the end because I don't have any auxiliary units available, or I've spent so long wiping out the counterattack over here that I have to pull everybody back and reset up the artillery. It's kind of close. I mean, on my playthrough, I did it in 16 turns, but it took a lot of artillery. I mean, I brought 7 artillery pieces and 3 level bombers. So, and I have 3 railguns with me. So I've got something like 13 artillery pieces. And it was still really hard to take all of the flags. I really could probably use more pioneers. So there's a couple of other things. I was trying to figure out why was I struggling so much with this plan? Surely it shouldn't be that difficult to do this plan and get a decisive victory. But there's a lot of things I realized was different about this playthrough from my prior ones. Usually I have 2 pioneers. Sometimes I have 3. And if you have pioneers, they will wreck these fortresses. In this scenario, I have 1 pioneer, and it was a big deal. The other issue I ran into is I think my units are less experienced than I would normally have them at this level. Because I would be playing on Rommel, and I could actually do elite replacements. So I think the lack of experience was a big deal. My tactical bomber isn't very good. He didn't have a great hero, so he has an initiative +1 hero, which is the worst possible hero you can get for a tactical bomber. So, he didn't get a nice +3 attack hero. I think that does make a difference. The other thing is I brought 2 scouts instead of 1, so maybe if I had brought more infantry, that would have helped. It just, I think not having that extra pioneer was a big deal. I did bring 2 paratroopers, but they took damage from wiping out fortresses. So, or not from fortresses, but like other units attacked them, and I ended up using them in ways I don't think was very good, and they got damaged. So it's just really difficult. I brought 1 88 gun, but the 88 gun wasn't used for fortifications. I sent the 88 gun over here because there's like tanks, and unfortunately I just couldn't get good use out of my 88 gun. I did manage to take out 1 tank and a few other things, but it was almost not worth bringing it, and that probably affected the distribution of forces and made things harder for me. I only had this 1 pioneer, and this 1 pioneer was absolutely crucial for seizing this area, but I didn't have anybody to take. I usually have 2 pioneers, 1 over here and 1 over here. And I just didn't have that this time, and it makes a big difference. So if we fast forward, I'm finally doing some damage to the fortress. Yeah, you can see I keep trying to sneak in there, but once again the AI blocks me. AI was very, very smart on this scenario. I'm actually getting desperate, and I'm attacking this fortress with my tactical bomber just to damage it. I did that like 3 times, and I took 1 point of damage every time. Yeah, you can see things have slowed down because this group got distracted taking out that group. I wasn't able to hit Mets from 2 sides, and so I just got bogged down. I think that's a good example of how not to assault a city. If you're gonna assault Mets this way, you have to commit to 2 directions on the city. But if you do so, you might find that you're too slow to grab all the flags. Is the long and short of it. Let's see. I had stepped away from the computer here. Let's see where we're at. Turn 7. I've managed to take this out. The auxiliary units performed admirably. They definitely bailed me out of a couple of situations. This flank is weakening. A lot of armored units went north instead of hitting my group, which was good. This group is now under assault. These are the last 3 units, and then I can switch back over. Let's skip ahead some. Oh yeah, finally Metz is about to fall. But you can see that I'm about to take out the fortress, but there's a lot of stuff still to do. Yep. I'm gonna take this guy out. Yeah, so it's turn 8, and all that's left in this sector is this fortress. That's actually pretty timely. I just have to make sure that I have enough time to swing everybody back. But I'm on turn 8, so this part of the plan actually worked out pretty well. But I don't think it's better than just attacking in this direction and then swinging back. I think it's slightly worse. I'm still trying to take out the fortress. And it's crazy, too, because there's an artillery and another fortress. And look at all of these units. I'm even taking risks, putting a 4-strength unit here. Just because I want to take that guy out. Oh, my 88 gun finally shows up and does something. This objective is really difficult to deal with, unfortunately. I would rather they didn't have it there, and then this would just be in a reserve attack group. Because then you could do any number of plans, and they would probably be viable, because you could focus on this being your last victory objective, and there might be a nasty counterattack trying to prevent you from getting it. But when it's set up like this, you have to do some sort of push that will take up 10 turns just to grab these 2 objectives. So you're under pressure to grab all the flags. I don't think I've seen anyone play this scenario and not be under intense pressure to get all the flags. I think you can do it in 14 turns, but I think there's a little bit of risk associated with it. I think most people take the full 16 turns to take everything. It's just so there's so many units and there's so many flags. Let's see. Okay, I'm finally attacking this artillery. I'm finally swinging my pioneers around, which accelerates the collapse of the city. Because I think that my pioneers take this fortress out. And that is a big help. But as you can see, look at all of these flags. I'm still assaulting Metz on turn 9, and I have all of these flags. And they're all like entrenched at 9. So I'm feeling pressure, so I'm starting to make assaults wherever I can, because I need to be able to collapse towards this fortress. Let's fast forward, turn 10. I have to deal with this counterattack. I'm on turn 10 and I still haven't really fully dealt with all of these units. It's it's delaying my attack. I haven't even seized this objective. I'm definitely under intense pressure. And I have my badly mauled Panzer IV. But it survived, that's okay. Charby 1s. They are very unfriendly to Panzer IVs. My scout was really helpful because he could follow behind and grab all these flags, and I could just forward all the attacking units. But look at this. I'm on turn 11, and I still have 4 flags I haven't taken in Mets because the AI keeps flooding units into the region. It's just crazy. It's taking forever to clear out the Mets. Let's fast forward. I'm starting to finally assault some of these locations, but I haven't even gotten in touch with that flag, so I have some problems. I have a lot of work to do. Let's fast forward. So I'm on turn 12, and I'm now just clearing out everything in the Mets. But because I cleared all the minefields, everybody can flood in and start doing massive assaults on flags. But you can still see, if you look at this map, I have all these enemy units. So I have my work cut out for me, especially since I'm running out of ammo. My auxiliary units are mostly exhausted. Quite a bit of my infantry is badly damaged. I have a badly damaged tank. My tactical bomber's value is less. So it's quite a struggle. So if we forward again, I'm now trying to flood in the back with my tanks. This auxiliary unit's taking some damage for me. Finally, I've cleared out this guy. Let's see. Yeah, but I'm not even in touch with this hex or this one. There's units, there's flags I haven't gotten. I'm on turn 13, and I haven't gotten all these flags. Let's forward to here. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like 6 flags at the end of turn 13 I haven't taken. And all of these units are heavily entrenched. So, and I still have armor on the map. So it's like, I have a lot of work to do if I'm going to get the decisive. At least my armor is mostly okay. So I'm on turn 14. Yeah, like I have to take this flag too. Thankfully, my auxiliary units were a major distraction for the AI. They kept attacking them. And I have this fort down to 1 ammo. Let's fast forward. So I still have to, I'm on turn 14 and I still have to take these flags out so I can assault behind on this fortress. So when I have a lot of artillery and I have pioneers and I have paratroopers, so those guys are going to be very, very busy essentially assaulting these 2 locations. And then I have to clean up the riffraff. Yeah, I mean, you can see I'm closing in on the fortress, but I have a lot of work to do. And on turn 15, I finally cleared that flag, and now I'm working on this flag. There's only 2 units left down here. I'm going to get all these guys. But it's pretty nerve-wracking. So I have an anti-tank. This guy is close to going down. Having the 3 level bombers is a big deal. There's always a target for them to hit. So I'm able to keep this fortress's artillery down. So if we forward to turn 16, almost. So here at the end of turn 15, there's like 3 units left. But I still have to dig them out, you know. Or there's 4 units left. So I ended up getting the decisive. That was a lot of work, and even with all the artillery I had, it still took me 16 turns. That's what I have to say about this. I had made no changes to my core. You didn't see any of those screens, but my core is like been the same since Amiens, I think. So I don't worry about that. I didn't buy anything. I didn't upgrade anything. I will talk about how my units have performed next time. I'm gonna try to do a live one. I've just been having Panzer Corps crash on me. It doesn't like running OBS while I'm playing Panzer Corps. But maybe what I'll do is I can at least show the deployment screen and the upgrades and the deployment, and then hit the turn 1 button and then stop it. So that way you guys can see that part. And then I can talk about my strategy at that point. But I would like to go back to doing live commentary because you're seeing like the end result of a lot of thought, and it took a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort for me to defeat these scenarios. So, and you don't hear any of that if I just show you the replay. But anyway, Richard out.